thank you folks for joining us today. This our opportunity to go through the draft for IT sharing or sharing IT services. And special thanks to Jason and Rick for further refining that MOU. And just a comment to say it really looks like it's coming together very, very well. It looks really solid, although I know we're going to have lots of questions and comments. I know I do. And maybe I can just start off with one, and it's more so pointed to Rick. And that was that I thought I was the only one that could hold that title of Grand Poopah, but maybe not. If you can come across it, it's in the document.
Well, maybe you should put a number after it and it says 342.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry, guys. I had to put earphones on. I couldn't hear.
Ah,
I'm sorry, Bill.
that's quite all right. Okay, so maybe with that, we can ask Jason and Rick to walk us through, and we can just jump in where we have questions or comments, if that's okay with everybody.
Sure. Rick, you had the last hand on it. Do you want to go through it?
Yeah. So when Melissa and I and Jason met on that, we pretty much went paragraph by paragraph, line by line. There were some edits that we put in more on the steering committee side to make sure. That was one of the questions that the subcommittee had, and I believe the task force as well had, as well as where, who was on that and how we're going to go forward with that process. Also the timeline for updating the document as well. I just want to bring it up for a second. Yeah. So pretty much on that, the goal, history, and purpose pretty much was left alone. The rationale and specific understandings pretty much was built how we saw it on our last IT task force in the subcommittee. And then that little piece right there that dotted on the IT steering committee, who was involved with that, and on both sides of the house, and as well as the task force, the BOE, BOS liaisons were left out. Those were edits put in. On page 2.
Rick, maybe before we don't go to page 2, maybe I can ask a couple questions from.
Sure, go right ahead.
On the steering committee activities, the list that we have there with the dots, I was wondering if we should say something about sharing and agreeing upon priorities. Maybe I missed it, if it's already there in some other fashion. And also resolving any major issues. If we look at this as an IT governance group or a meeting of IT governance, that's a perfect spot to get to agreement on priorities, because there will be some difference from time to time as to what should be the major priority. And then if there's any major issues that come up, either having to do with IT, but within the town or within BOE, this is a great format for addressing them. You got the right people there.
Okay. I got the major resolved one. What was that first one, Bill, you mentioned?
The first one was having to do with sharing and agreeing on priorities.
That might be an additional bullet on under number 1.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I just had one question, and it's probably because I don't understand how this really works. I understand for the town, we've got the deputy town manager and the IT head, but for BOE, we have the IT head. And I'm just wondering if that's the way it's going to continue. Does that work?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for Jason. I think in the past and how it was developed was it was the business manager and then Jason where we are right now is that he kind of has that dual hat responsibility right now.
Okay.
So we put him in there, and that's where you have another party from the same side on a table, and that's where the Board of Education liaison fits in. In the past, that was Chris Kelly, and I believe it's Mr. Martin now, right, Jace?
That's correct.
Yep. So I think we're okay there, Will.
Okay, so we're not expecting to have another person for the IT steering committee.
Correct.
Okay,
I mean, there isn't really a position now on the technology side that would make sense.
okay,
Those types of more general project concerns had traditionally been the business manager position, which was transformed into a lot of other positions. So, as Rick said, I'm kind of wearing two hats in that sense.
got it. Okay, and you don't feel overwhelmed by those other two parties that are sitting across the table from you, right?
No, I can hold my own.
Okay, great. Okay, thanks for letting me interject.
Not a problem at all. It's welcome. Then on page 2, if we just go over that, I want to read it per verbatim. Pretty much are things that we do right now and participate in. Going to number 3, the incident response policy, that is up to the steering committee. And we agreed to, when we do meet, any changes, modifications happen at that time. And then I'm just scrolling through so you guys could, if you got anything to comment on or have any questions, we'll be happy to answer that. Generically, I'll just address the number 6. That continues on. There will be a cutover date, which I believe is the summer of 2022, where that occurs off. And again, we'll modify the document appropriately.
I was just going to say that's almost like a renewal date or
Correct.
review date.
Yep. Oh, yeah, right. Number 7, pretty much the same thing on that review. That'll probably be changed as well. Number 8, 9, pretty much we're on mutual agreement now. That's been like that for, God, longest time. As well as within that facility, we have municipal Wi-Fi as well, which they all use it. Jason's piece to that is where visiting teachers, administrators come into central office. They still have access to all their resources, should there be presentations, so on and so forth. 9, we've pretty much discussed on that resource that is pretty much widely shared now. Number 10, that's continuing on. Actually, funding for that was appropriated for this coming year's budget, so that continues on. Number 11, that continues on. We use that. I think we just got one last week. We got one from MSISAC on that, and that's always shared. 12, that is in our wheelhouse, and that's moving forward. There is a commencement date, March 30th, I believe, for that, and we're seeing testing already on that from both sides of the house. 13 is just the public facing piece of it. And we have the support of Jason and his staff, who really sponsor that piece of it on the outside. And then the financial agreement, which I think we all read. The only piece missing there is that there is a 15% increase in salary for the town data processing manager, which you guys should approve on. That's a joke.
You never can
That
tell.
must go with the expensive title at the end there, huh?
Exactly. I didn't do that. I wasn't me. Oh God. And then
I
this,
did have a question about two of the paragraphs under financial agreement. The
Yeah.
third paragraph and the fourth paragraph. Are those really financial, or are they more like what we had on the previous page? And I guess my question
yeah.
is, should they be moved out of the financial agreement and up to that list of areas supported?
That
Yeah,
again,
I read that as these are the things that, you know, are being paid for,
That's-
not necessarily
Right.
supported.
Okay.
Well, you almost say it in item 10 already. The cost of the program will be split evenly between the town and BOE.
Well, but that's for the fishing program.
yeah,
No, right, that's a separate deal from, I mean, this financial agreement speaks to how the salaries for the particular staff are paid for by each, or between the school board, BOE, and the town, and then what those services that 50% of that they're paying for is providing them within the town hall building itself, as
Right,
well
but-
as the town garage. So
Yeah, but
it's kind of
paragraph 2 talks about the no before, and so does item 10.
The reason for
right,
that,
but
was-
those are separate programs. Then this is normal to me. This is normal everyday administrative break fix support questions versus a separate program there on item 10.
yeah, the no before on item 10 is there based on where the support is coming from. So Rick, although both entities use that software, Rick has taken the lead on it. So the support and the training and assistance with that is what that number 10 is drawing out, is that the town side is helping support that initiative. And then when you come down to the financial section, that's where it's specified that we're paying for it 50-50.
Okay.
would financial, instead of financial agreement, financial understanding and heading that section? I mean, I see for paragraph 3 that starts off the town of Simsbury will provide. I mean, we could move that out of that agreement section and make it a 14 in the section above.
I don't think that's necessary, because again, the way I read it, again, you're explaining what the financial agreement or understanding, again, whatever. If there's
Right.
no formal agreement, maybe an understanding might be better suited. But if there's something actually documented and signed off on, then maybe it's an agreement. But I think that's, you know,
Understanding is
something
probably better language in that sense.
All right.
But I like the idea of keeping it as a separate paragraph at the bottom, because it is different than the other 1 through 14 that kind of establishes what we do, and then the next section establishes how we pay for it.
Okay. All right, so the change I have there, that's the financial agreement to financial understanding.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
yeah.
Good. Yeah, I mean, I think what Jason did initially on the document was pretty good. It set the in a good frame, and we just had to tweak it a little bit. And like Jason said, and I said, we've been doing this for years now. So I think it is a benefit for both sides to have this document. And it was pretty pretty simplistic to really develop it, because we all had it in our heads. We were doing it every day.
I
So
asked
how
a
do
question.
you get that title, Rick?
That I have no idea how it got there. And
I wonder how
glad
you get, yeah, how do you get that? How do you strive? Is that like one of your younger goals that I strive to be the grand poobah?
I don't know. I don't know. I think Jason did it, but I have no idea. Melissa thought I did, and it's like, no, I didn't do it. Maybe Paul did it, or Bill. I didn't do it.
Sure, blame it on someone else.
Right.
Right, exactly. There's not too many people who know who the Grand Poobah is, right?
All right. I confess.
There you go.
we had changed. This was out of a conversation with Melissa about who the signers of the document should actually be, and it sort of characterizes: is this between the town administration and Board of Ed administration? In which case, do we need to talk to the selectmen and the Board of Ed, and do we need to get those bodies involved? And the more we talked about it, we just felt like this was really between the IT departments, and it kept things simpler. And that's when we changed the sign off at the bottom. I had assumed Rick was going to catch that before it went to the final draft stage, though.
It's funny how that works.
You should just see if it continues to go through and get signed off on or
Right.
presented to anybody else.
Take a note to fix that.
Yeah.
I did have a question on the duration. We didn't put a end date in there. And I'm just wondering if by not having an end date, there's more of an opportunity where it won't get reviewed.
Well, we're taking documents like this one and some of the other, like the security documents, and building that into a schedule of review.
Right.
Yeah, I would just put a last reviewed date somewhere on the document so it's clear.
Yeah,
Right.
we could put that right at the end after Grand Poobah.
Great.
Or reviewed by.
Well, if I get called to the personnel subcommittee on the name change, I'll have some issues.
Well, I thought that was all to guarantee that 15% raise.
Now that's a good
that was-
lead.
Now, see, that's justification right there, right?
It is.
First, you have to find out what the other Poobahs in the state of Connecticut are making before you can say that.
If we
need a
can find-
market study. Hey, could work out to your advantage if you're the only one. Well, no, disadvantage if you're the only one.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
Didn't that originate from the Flintstones? So that would probably be in Bronto
Stitched in
Burgers.
stone?
Sure, probably.
oh
Yeah,
God.
it's in stone.
Oh man.
All right. How
It's
about
Monday.
other comments or questions?
Well, just one comment I have is that it's a nice document. It shows the cooperative work that's been going on. It just puts it in a perspective so that hopefully it can continue if ever there are changes.
Mhm.
Right. Yep. I agree.
All right. Well, Jason and Rick, unless you guys have any other questions, I think we might be at the end.
No, the only thing I would like to thank you guys for your time and really the whole IT task force, not just subcommittee on not just this MOU, but just on some of the policies that we come up with and you guys double check them and help us with. So it's your volunteerism that we appreciate, and we always have an open door for that.
Yeah. I just second that and say that this type of policy, this is a good next step into taking things that we've been doing without official documentation and getting it documented. So I think we're on the right track.
Great.
Yeah, thank
All
you
right.
guys.
Should we adjourn?
I say
I'll
why
make a
not?
motion.
Anybody second?
I'll go second.
All right. I think we're all in favor. So thank you, folks. I really appreciate it.